I am a black Chinese man. If you don't agree with me, that means you are transrace phobic. Yes, you heard that right. Today we're looking at the community, which shouldn't even be a community to begin with, of transracials. Those who feel that they should/are meant to be a different race than their ancestry. And for some reason, like every community ever, they have a flag. I mean, they didn't really put much effort into this one, did they? Just a few colors. No design or anything. Just white to black. I'm actually on the far right of the flag, but I identify as the far left of it. No, but realistically, who's doing this? Who is sat there identifying as a different race? So that's why today we're looking at the community of transracials. We're doing a deep dive into them to see what they're like, what they identify as, why they identify as those things. Ethnic fluid is a term for someone whose ethnic identity changes over time. An ethnic fluid individual can identify as any ethnicity or combination of ethnicities at any given time. And their flag looks like a river of poop. That's great. Amazing flag, and I love that you can just switch whenever you feel like it. At any given time, I can change race. You won't know, but I will know, and then I will let you know and make sure you call me the right race, because if you don't, that's transracial phobic and you will be going to prison. Trans-Brazil Korean. Trans-Brazil Korean is a term for those who feel as though they should be both Korean and Brazilian descent. I'm noticing a lack of effort in these flags. To be fair, I didn't really know what to expect for the flags, but the fact that there is a flag for a trans-Brazil Korean is crazy. Within the transracial community as well, you can identify as a certain culture, like the trans-German culture. Trans-German culture is a term for those who identify with or believe they should be a part of German culture. Now, what does that mean specifically? Every single type of culture in Germany, or are we talking about specific things that have happened in Germany over the years? Because honestly, I don't know if I'd want to identify as one of those things. You know, they've not done the best things over recent time. But to be transracial, you need to have something called race dysphoria, whatever that means. Race dysphoria is dysphoria related to one's dead race. A dead race is the same as one ancestral's race. Race dysphoria is one of the most unpleasant things a traced person can go through. Everyone experiences differently and at different levels of severity. You don't have to have race dysphoria to be trans race. Dysphoria means you're like really upset, like you're like the opposite of super happy, right? You're extremely depressed that you're white. What's going on? You just wake up one day and you don't like that yours a certain race, so you're gonna change it. What are you going to do to change it? Race dysphoria can be triggered by many things, but the common triggers are things like seeing your reflection in the mirror. You are just chopped, bro. Ain't no way you look at yourself in the mirror and get upset, bro. You just chopped, man. Looking at photos of yourself, you're just ugly, man. Just deal with it. Seeing one's racial features is frustrating for most trans race people. So you can't even look at yourself then. How do you go about your day if you can't look at yourself? Do you wear gloves? Because technically you will see what race you are by looking at your hands. Unfortunately, at this time of writing, race dysphoria is not officially acknowledged as a condition that should be taken seriously, and due to stigma has been barely researched, so the best information we have at this time is personal accounts. I already had my doubts, but now you've just confirmed to me it's not true. Thank you. Cisracial, also called cisrace, is a term for those who identify with their bodily race. This is the opposite of transrace. So just fucking normal then. Just normal. Why do we need a flag and an identity for just being normal? One may potentially be both cisrate and transrate. For example, someone who is trans-Indian but also somewhat identifies with their birth race. What the does that mean? Trans-Indian is a term for those who feel as though they should be of Indian heritage. Of course it is, because why would you want to be Indian? I'm not even trying to diss India here, but come on. Well, who is out there going, oh my god, I wish I was born in India? You shouldn't worry about things or get upset about things you have literally zero control over, okay? You just have to deal with them. That's just life, okay? Demi-racial, a trace identity where someone is partially aracial and partially another race. Under the flag, which is awful, like literally every flag we've seen so far, there is an explanation, some subterms as they call it. If you're sat down, lay down, and if you're led down, do a headstand, because this is gonna get crazy. Libra-racial, feeling 1% to 49% of a specific race and aracial otherwise. Para-racial, feeling 51% to 99% of a specific race and aracial otherwise. Demi-racial, being partly aracial and partly one's biological race. Demi can be replaced with para and libra. Did anyone understand that? Because I fucking didn't. Like, there is no sense in this. Oh, and by the way, there's also other flags like this one. Do you identify as that? Actually, what was missing from that explanation was more flags. We needed more flags. We can't live life without more flags to identify with. After this video, we're gonna have to bring back the PX flag for real, because what is going on? Honestly, I was a bit confused what aracial was, so I looked it up on this website, and this is what it is. An aracial being is someone who doesn't have a race or does not resonate with any race. So we're just identifying as fucking aliens. And of course, there's an alternate flag for aracial, and it looks like this. I identify with the flag that's got the baby in the middle with the question mark and the dots all around. And then I went to this page's FAQs, you know, frequently asked questions. And honestly, I don't think I got any answers to any of the questions. But Transrace does enforce racial stereotypes, so it is racist. It does not. Simply because it allows room for people to be non-conforming, experiment with their appearance the way they feel comfortable, and even allows people to reject the idea of having a race at all, think aracial. While traditional race forces you into a group based on how you were born, it's the complete opposite. You're allowed to reject the idea of having a race. You know, race is not even important anymore. So why is changing your race important then? You can't change your race because it's in your DNA. It actually isn't. Race is a social construct based on flawed science. Race is arbitrary at the best and is loosely based on appearance, culture, or ancestry, depending on where you look. People shouldn't be forced into a race against their will because racist scientists from centuries ago made it to justify their racism. So people shouldn't be forced into races. So let's make up loads of different races for people to identify as, even though race isn't really a real thing. So why is this even a thing? If race isn't a fucking real thing, how is this a thing? And in the trans race community, the transracials, the trace is what they call themselves, there is categories you can identify with, right? There's categories like races of different countries of actual races, or there's Fictional, terms for those who identify with fictional races. And there's 47 of them so far. So 47 made up things you can identify as. This list looks, I don't even know if I should click on any of these. Japanesey is a term for those who feel like they should be Japanesey, a fictional race in a world where China and Japan merged their countries and culture. Are we just identifying with different universes? Trans-UPJ is a term for those who feel as though they should be from the United Prefectures of Japanada, from the jazz punk universe. Mate, I literally have no clue what that means, but it sounds stupid, like everything I've read so far. Trans-Argonian describes people who feel as they should be Argonian from the Elder Scrolls. You could just identify as anything. The possibilities are endless here. You see that Winnie the Pooh right there? I identify as Winnie the Pooh race. There you go. New one just made. Make a fucking flag for that right now. And then I clicked on another category that they have, and honestly, I don't even know what this category is. Race void is a term for those who feel as though there is a blank void where one's race should be. Oh yeah, that makes sense. You're just absolutely nothing then. You literally identify as nothing. Spirit racial is a term for those who believe their race can only be revealed or confirmed by a spiritual figure. Are you waiting for the fairy godmother to decide your fate? She's gonna come through your window and say, bish bash, boffity bish, you are now Spanish. If you are seeing spiritual figures telling you what race you are, you need to see a therapist. Specific labels. Dia-Chinese, also called trans-Chinese, is a term for those who feel as though they should be a Chinese descent. You thought that was it? No, for some reason, if you scroll, there's like 10 million different versions of trans-Chinese you can be. Muta-Chinese is a term for those who are technically cis-Chinese, but feel as though they should be or prefer to call themselves trans-Chinese for whatever reason. Why would you want to do that? You're telling me you are born Chinese, but you want to identify as trans-Chinese. Exo-Chinese is a term for those whose Chinese identity is related to things not typically associated with race. It's not connected to human ideas surrounding race, or is non-human in nature. Aquamarine Night is a term for trace individuals who are both white and Asian. Autumn Night is a term created to represent traces that are fully or partially Latino or Native American. The red, oranges, and yellows represent the colors of autumn leaves, and brown represent trees. What the f do trees have to do with you being Latino? I'm pretty sure there are trees in literally every country on earth. Trans-British is a term for those who feel they should be British. And you guessed it, like the Chinese one, there's like 10 million other things you can be in this British transracial dichotomy, like perma-British. Perma-British is a term for those who permanently identify as British. Does this just mean you get a British passport? Are these other ones not permanent? This one you locked in, you can't get out. Trans-French is a term for those who feel as though they should be ethnically French. Yeah, this one's got to be rage bait. Who would want to be French? Transcultural, also known as transculture, is a trans identity that would fall under the transracial umbrella, but may also be perceived as its own umbrella term. It describes folk that feel like they should be a part of certain culture that they currently not are a part of. Digital racial is a term for those whose race is connected to the internet or whose race is from the internet or digital in itself. You're just an AI, but without the intelligence. Board game race is a term for whose racial identity is connected to board games. Yeah, okay, that's enough. That's just ridiculous now, okay? That might be actually the worst one I've seen. If you want to regain all your brain cells you've lost watching this video and all of your intelligence, make sure to check out my streams and like and subscribe, or you will change race every time you sneeze.